Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining me today. It's a huge honour to be speaking at this very first Strive for Good Life Summit. Let me start out by introducing myself. My name is Rachael Butler, and I'm a creative arts therapist with a real passion for helping people break free from what is holding them back and to design lives that they're truly aligned with and in love with. So today I'm going to start by sharing a story that is really close to my heart. It's the story about how I went from feeling completely stuck in a conventional life to moving abroad, starting a whole new, fresh life, and creating something that I absolutely love waking up to each morning. And it all started with a simple list. So let me tell you about why we decided to write the list. I'm going to take you back to the moment that changed absolutely everything for me and my husband. We'd just returned from yet another holiday, and it was one of those getaways where you kind of briefly escape the grind of daily life and you find yourself wondering why life can't always be like that. It was so light and so fulfilling, so carefree, and it was just wonderful. Every holiday felt like this, but we never wanted to come back. And my husband and I had actually come back and we were expecting our first child. Now, this should have been one of the most joyous and exciting times of our lives. And don't get me wrong, it was. We were absolutely bowled over. We couldn't wait for this birth of our first child. But at the same time, we were both consumed with the busyness of work and with endless demands of our regular routines. Now, I want to be completely honest with you. Me and my husband rarely saw one another at this point. We were working so hard that even though we lived under the same roof and on the outset, on the face of it, our careers, they were thriving. People thought that we were the picture of success. You know, we were a great couple, comfortable, accomplished, and people might think we were having a great life, and we were. But honestly, we wanted to spend more time together. It wasn't the life that we had imagined for ourselves. And we'd fallen into this trap that so many people do. We were living a version of life that we had been told, that society had told us was the one we should be living. We had studied at university. We had gone on to create amazing careers, develop our own businesses that were thriving. We'd met each other. We'd settled down, we'd got married, and we were expecting our first child. I mean, we're ticking all the boxes here. This is exactly what society tells you should be doing. But it didn't kind of feel quite right. Deep down, we had both got this nagging feeling of discontent that somehow we'd both lost sight of what actually mattered to us. So it was during one of those late night conversations that you may have had with your partner. Me and my partner had had many of them at this time. And it's that kind that you have, you know, when it's late, it's dark, it's quiet. You can actually hear yourself think. The world stops for a while. And we started to talk about, we were realizing that something needed to change here. We did not want to bring a child into this life. It just felt like a treadmill. We were just running and working, and we weren't getting anywhere more meaningful at the end of it. We wanted to create a life that was full of connection, full of purpose, full of joy and happiness and time spent together. And it wasn't just for me and my husband, but it was for this family that we were about to start. And that's when we decided to write the list. So let me tell you that this wasn't a dramatic act at first. It was just simply a way to ask ourselves, what would we actually like our lives to look like going forward? What do we want to let go of? And what are we ready to prioritise here? What do we want more of in our lives? So we sat down together. We'd had a nice meal. We had a nice warm drink. We got a pen and a paper. It wasn't even a notebook. It wasn't even something fancy. It was literally a scrap of paper that we'd kind of tore off the back of something and we were both writing on. And we didn't write a practical list. It wasn't how we're going to do these things. It was totally raw, totally unfiltered, directly from the heart. And it was like a blueprint of our dreams. So it wasn't all the things we'd been told we should want to achieve because, we kind of nailed that, but it wasn't what we wanted. Looking back now, that list, it wasn't just a piece of scrap paper. It was an enormous turning point for us because it allowed us to step off that treadmill that we'd been on, that we were just living on this autopilot And we actually started to design a life that really, truly aligned with our values and desires. And the best part about the list, let me tell you, it was the first step towards us becoming the kind of parents that we wanted to be. We were more present, we wanted to be more present, more fulfilled, and deeply connected to the life that we were creating together. We'd imagined that perhaps we could continue the way we were going, where my husband would work in the evenings, I'd work during the day, we'd swap over where we'd share childcare, and we sort of thought, yeah, we could make that work. But it wasn't what we wanted. And the list showed that. So as you can see, it wasn't just any old list. It was a roadmap, essentially, for our dreams. And writing it down helped me to clarify what I truly wanted. And more importantly, it allowed me to take the steps towards making those a reality. And so today in this workshop, I want to help you do the same. Together, we're going to explore the power of creating a transformative life list. And I'm going to guide you through a little practice so that you can create one for yourself. So I'm going to ask you, if you're ready, grab a pen and some paper. It can be a piece of scrap paper. It can be the most beautiful notepad you've ever seen in your life. This is important, so perhaps you've got a great notepad for this. Go for it. And we are going to write our lists. So I want to talk a little bit now about the concept of this transformative life list, because often when I talk about a life list, many people get confused and they think I'm talking about a bucket list, which we've all heard of. You know, I've got a kind of catalogue of adventures like skydiving or swimming with dolphins, climbing up the tallest mountain in the area that you live, you know, all these kind of things. And while they're wonderful experiences, and I fully recommend it, write yourself a bucket list, that's not what this list is about. This list is something much deeper. It's about envisioning the life you want to live every day. So not just those extraordinary holidays, those extraordinary moments, but like the routine stuff, the stuff that's every single day, the people in your life, the work that you do, and lifestyle, those things that fill you with purpose and joy. So creating this list could help you in a number of ways. So let me share with you some of the ways that it could help you. Creating this list could help you break through mental blocks or societal conditioning. So the things that are holding you back from even dreaming up the life that you truly want. Writing this list could help you clarify what truly matters to you. You might be surprised by what you write on this list. I was quite surprised with some of the things that I wrote down when I opened up my heart and just went for it and didn't think too much. And it will also help you to take actionable steps towards your ideal life, because once you've written those things down, they become goals, they become aspirations, and you can take steps towards those dreams becoming a reality. So I'd like to give you a few examples from my own list. When I first started to write, some of the things that I wrote down were, I wanted to live closer to nature. I was living in London in the UK, the capital. I was not near very much nature whatsoever. It was what I wanted. Apparently, I was writing it on this list, and as I wrote it, I could feel myself filling up and thinking, yes, I do want this. I wanted to spend more time with my husband. I saw him for an hour a day, if I was lucky, at the most. And if we'd had kids and stayed in the same sort of life, it would have been even less. And I wanted to be present for my children. And if I wasn't present for my husband, how was I going to be present for my family in the future? And finally, I wanted to use my creative skills on a regular basis. I'm a creative arts therapist, and I'm a super creative person. And I'm not talking about drawing pictures. I'm not talking about that kind of creativity. I'm talking about being able to think creatively, think outside the box. I wanted a lifestyle that embraced that, which I definitely have here. But when I wrote them down, it just seemed, I guess they seemed a bit impossible, like they were just dreams. But once I looked back at the list, I'd made them a reality. And over time, I was able to break them down into smaller steps. I started researching places that we could live as a family. I started shifting my career focus and deciding what I could do for work, how I could use the skills that I have, but in a different way that was more fulfilling to me. And looking at making more time for my husband and for my family. And I'm speaking to you today from the mountains of Gran Canaria. And since building that list and working through the process, I would honestly say I'm living a life that I absolutely adore. It's exactly what I wanted. And I could not have imagined this we're going back about 6 years now. I couldn't have imagined this being my life. I have to pinch myself every day when I look out the mountains and think, how am I here? I'm still here. So what I'd like to do is to help you create a list. And we're going to do a little practice together now. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to guide you through a practice that will help you to envision the life that you love and create your own transformative life list. But to begin with, we're going to take a moment to reflect on 2 possible futures. The first future, I want you to imagine your life 2 years from now if nothing changes. Now, if everything just continues exactly as it is today. So we're going to start with that. So what I want you to do is get yourself comfy. So sit somewhere comfortable. If you want, you can close your eyes. You don't have to. And just to ground ourselves and feel a little bit more present in this moment. And if you haven't got time to do this right now, that's fine. You can either pause the video or you can come back to this at another time. I'm going to ask you to take a couple of deep breaths with me, and we're going to breathe in through our nose and then blow it away. So we'll do that together just twice. And again. Okay, I want you to picture yourself 2 years from now in the future. And your daily life looks much the same as it does now. You have got the same routines, the same patterns, probably the same challenges. Things that you're finding difficult might still be the same. You maybe find that you are feeling stuck or unfulfilled in this life. And perhaps, if you're honest, you've got a nagging sense that you are not living in alignment with your dreams. Perhaps life feels too busy, too chaotic, and you just can't make any changes. You just can't even imagine where the time would come from to even think about making the changes. Have a look around this future version of your life. I mean, it looks very similar to life now, perhaps. It's 2 years, you've done nothing to change it. Why would it look any different? How are you spending your time now in the future? Are you doing things that bring you joy? Or are you still caught up in tasks that just drain you? Think about your relationships. What happens to them in the future if nothing changes? Do they continue the same, or perhaps some of them have failed? You know, sometimes relationships need to change too, and if we don't make those changes, they don't survive. So ask yourself, are my relationships meaningful and as connected as I'd like them to be? Am I spending enough time with the people who are important to me? And how does all this make you feel? Are you feeling inspired and energized and purposeful? Or are you feeling like something might be missing? Take just a moment and sit with this feeling. This picture of you 2 years down the line. And we're going to take one more deep breath together, in and out. And let that image go. That is not going to be your future. You are here. You've taken time out to come to this summit to find ways to move forward. So I think what we need to do now is experience something a little bit different and create your very own transformative life list. Okay, so you are in a space here where you can dream big, dream freely, let your heart guide what you write here. There is no judgment. No one is going to check this. You can't get it wrong. You can't make a mistake. It's just what comes out. And I'd say don't overthink it. What comes out straight away is most probably your true heart's desire. So I'm going to give you some prompts to guide you. And again, you've got your pen and your piece of paper. I'm going to ask you firstly to think about straight away what brings you joy and fulfillment. What do you enjoy doing? What do you love? Just take a couple of moments, just scribble it all down. Hopefully you'll be able to read your handwriting back at the end. I'm sure I struggled to read mine when I scribbled all these dreams down. Okay. And the second prompt, and if you need more time for this, do just pause the video and keep writing and then start it again. So the second thing I'm going to ask you is what you value most in your life. What is most important to you? Is it family, friends? Is it having a career that really fills you up? Is it living in a certain place? You want to see the sea every day? Like, what values are so strong to you that you feel you couldn't live without them? And if 2 years down the line you weren't meeting those values, you would not be feeling joyful or fulfilled. Have some time to think about that. And I'll move on, but again, if you need to pause the video so that you can continue writing, please do. The final prompt I'm going to give you is to think about what 3 dreams or goals you would love to achieve in the next few years. If your future in 2 years could look different and you could have met, without thinking how, just if you could have met 3 new goals or achievements, what would they be? It's super important that you don't judge yourself for anything that you write down, and that you don't worry about how you could make this a reality. This comes later. The dream is the first part, and it's super important not to judge yourself and not to worry, not to overthink it. Just write whatever comes. Now feel free to write as much or as little as you want to for this list. Like I said, there's no right and wrong. This list might be 5 words and this creates the life of your dreams. It might be 55, it might be, 5 sides of paper, but just write whatever comes naturally now without overthinking. And then we are going to move on to our final part of this practice, which is our second visualization. I said there was 2 futures that we were going to look at. We've looked at the future 2 years down the line where nothing changes. But now I want you to get comfortable, because we're going to imagine a different future for you. So once again, get comfortable, close your eyes if you want to. We're going to take a deep breath together. And now I want you to imagine the future where you have made changes to align your life with what truly matters to you. So picture yourself 2 years from now, living your absolute dream life. I want you to imagine waking up in the morning. Where are you? Where are you waking up? What does your bedroom look like? What do you see when you look out the window? Do you have any windows? My dream bedroom, it turns out, is a cave bedroom. I don't have any windows. Think about how you're going to spend your day. What will you do? Who are you spending it with? I want you to imagine the sense of fulfillment, freedom, and joy that you might feel today as you move through this life, which has been designed by you to reflect your deepest values and desires. Really have a look round at this life, this version of you in the future, who made the changes, who took the steps and allowed themselves today to dream about what their life could actually look like. Really fully experience it, be there and be inspired by this version of you in the future. When you're ready, I'm going to take one last breath. We're going to just leave this as an inspiration and an image to reflect on in the future, to keep us going when we need to. So let's take our final deep breath. There you go. You've done it. Congratulations. That was the very first step towards your new dream life. It was simple, wasn't it? So keep your list somewhere really visible. Revisit it often. Remind yourself of all of those dreams, of all of those goals, and get ready to start taking small, steady steps towards making those dreams a reality, because you can do this. So finally, I just want to thank you for taking the time to dream with me today. It has been a great pleasure to be here. And as you look at your list, remember this: every single great journey has started out with one tiny step. And that's all you need to do. So even if it all feels a little bit overwhelming right now, which it well may do, when I looked at my list, I thought, oh, this isn't reality. This is just dreams. But know that you're on the right path to the future you want and that you deserve. I would like to say that if you'd like to follow my family's journey up into the mountains of Gran Canaria, you can find us over on Instagram at Our Angel Caves. Or if you'd like to learn more or work with me further, I'd love to hear from you. And you can sign up to my mailing list for regular doses of me, of more motivation from the mountains and inspiration for that dream life you've always wanted. You can find that over at angelcaves.online. I just want to remind you that we can do hard things. We can break free from the mundane and we can build lives that truly inspire us and empower us. Go and get them. Thank you.